started.
Moet Chandon, Argentina. Okay. Starts with e4. Well, it's... Actually, I meant to play the French defense. Okay. We'll see what we get. What is this? If I play e5 here, this will be a Philidor. I guess this is a modern Philidor. Just getting into the Philidor by a different move order. I have played the Philidor before. It's useful. It's a kind of a solid opening that people underrate, so it's useful to play sometimes. But black usually gets somewhat of a cramped position in the Philidor. Let's see. What are white's ideas here? Maybe bringing the bishop out? Maybe just, yeah, trading.
Check.
Trading is possible. It doesn't hurt black in this case because I still get to castle. And let's see, if he sacks the exchange here, rook takes, bishop takes knight, pawn takes. He can mess up my pawns over here, but without a queens on the board, I don't believe it's worth the exchange. Just not worth it. So he got his his rook on the d file quickly, and he can cause some consternation here. I wonder if knight d4 is possible. Knight d4, he can take the e pawn. Knight d4, knight takes e5. Do I have anything there? I can trade off his bishop. That would just bring his knight forward. So the threat is to just take my knight and then take the e-pawn. So I could start by defending the e-pawn, I guess. Okay, decided not to take my knight. Now I could play knight e5. Knight takes here, rook takes, forks the two bishops. Knight takes, rook takes knight, rook takes bishop. I think I come out ahead. So knight takes, pawn takes, then rook takes. Still rook here, but this bishop is defended, and this bishop can take. So what do I want to do? Let's gradually unravel. Let's start with that's funny. Yeah, that's the trouble with being low on space. You can't find squares for your pieces. I want to bring the bishop out, but if I bring it here, he can maybe take the e-pawn. Bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes. Not too great looking. Okay, let's kick the bishop over here. This frees up my knight. Now it also moves some pawns forward. There's maybe some danger over here on f7. But anyway, yeah, moves some pawns forward towards his king. So potential for a kingside attack here. Maybe c5, c4 trapping his bishop would be interesting. Piling up on the e-file is an idea here. Okay, let's go here. That way I defend my bishop here. So even if he doubles rooks, rook takes. Okay, so he defends there. So let's throw another pawn forward. Threaten to trap his bishop. And then if he moves the h-pawn forward to give the bishop a flight square, he goes there. Never mind. So now knight takes bishop is possible. Bishop takes, rook takes. And knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. I don't have to go all the way, but if he takes my bishop here, I can take back with the rook. I think this should be okay. Takes my knight. I do have to take back. Yeah, I'll be down a piece if I don't take back. But after taking back, then I can push my e-pawn forward. This might turn into not very much, a whole lot of not very much. Let's see, I can play knight c4 here, kicking his rook. And then if he moves the rook off, I can grab the pawn. So knight c4 looks interesting. He can move it up and down. He can move to here or here. And if he moves to here, I can fork. So he has to move back. So driving his rook back with knight c4 makes sense. Yeah, he dropped back. So now I can move this pawn forward. 1, knight moves, 2. Yeah, it's not very convincing. Let's shore up the center here. Maybe blockade this pawn. I have a little more space here. Maybe rook to c8 and push forward the c-pawn. Keep this d-pawn sort of isolated. He can play c4 immediately and probably... Oh, actually, if he does, I can take it. Let's see. So if I play c4 now, pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes. Yeah, I can play c4 right away and keep this pawn somewhat isolated, separated from its fellows, and then maybe it's a target for later in the game.
Server announcement.
Okay, and he's going after my knight. Knight takes, rook takes, and he's hitting my pawn. So I won't take. I'll let him take. I can't really stop that. His idea is to go there. That's interesting. He hits this pawn. And he's looking at these squares. Let's see. I'm thinking I can play knight to... Knight b5, he plays his knight here, and I bring my rook up. But knight b5, he takes this pawn. Let's go here first. Now play knight b5. Let's see, does he have any great forks here? I don't see them. Always got to watch out for those tricky knight forks. My idea is to try and get my knight to the d4 square, and then I can take this pawn. But I may have to push my c-pawn forward first to avoid the nasty pins there. Yeah, seems like he's recognizing the idea. So knight to d4 immediately. And he plays c3. You don't like it? Okay, so let's go ahead and play pawn to c3. Okay, he can push his pawn forward. Let's get my rook out of the way, out of the range of his pawn. Oh, I could have just taken that. That was what I was planning. I was planning to take that when he pushed it, because the knight defends that. Yeah, so he gets the c3 pawn in exchange, so that was probably his plan all along. Okay, so knight here can go to this square, this square, or back. Let's kick it anyway. Get my king off the back rank.
Check.
And from here, he can go here. So I can't, I don't want to play my king forward. Let's bring my king out this way. And I think I just have slightly better pawns than he does, but it's not a big deal. Let's try and get my knight to that d4 square again. Knight d4. And then maybe go after his c-pawn. Rook here, knight here attacks the rook. That's covered, and I'm threatening to take there with check. Yeah, so knight there. Let's see, attacking the pawn again. Pawn steps forward, I can take it with the rook. So he defends it. Okay. Now what? Now I can start going after these pawns over here on the king side. There, every little pawn helps. Okay, so now his knight is threatening to become active. Let's attack the knight. And let's try and round up another pawn over here on the queen side, king side. Okay, let's see. I have to make sure that square is not a danger. Pawn here, king takes, and there's no great knight checks, right? So knight here to round up that last pawn. Okay, and he's going to round up my pawn. Let's take this and then start pushing my pawns. I think mine will be a little bit faster than his. I got a head start, but we'll see. And I think my pieces are in better position to stop his pawns. His pieces are in the way of his pawns, and mine have a clear shot. This H pawn has a clear shot. Okay, so he goes for harassing the knight. Be careful, there's a check here to win the knight, but on the other hand, the pawn is covering that square. Now let's step forward here. The knight is covering this square with a rook check, and now the knight is covering the pawn. I couldn't push the pawn forward because of rook to rook to g4 check.
Check.
Can check from the side. Okay. Let's see. If I go here, he's got a knight check. Knight check here. I can put the king in front of the pawn. Not ideal, but it does hold on to things for the moment.
Check.
Or I could attack his knight. I don't actually... no, that's... I want to... think about this. If I go here to attack the knight, he has the check. And when I step back, yeah, I can't step back to attack the rook. Okay, so I want to go here holding on to the pawn. Watch my time here. I'm down to 2 minutes. And now I have a check picking up his knight.
Check.
Okay, here I can go after the knight.
Check.
Let's see, if I go here, yes, there is no check here. Okay, I'm winning the knight here, because wherever the knight goes, I have a check to win it. Okay, so he gives up the knight, but he gets a pawn.
Check.
And this should still be winning. Let's see, so I don't have to move that pawn, I can move this one. My king's already in an ideal position to promote this pawn. So now I can move the other pawn. It's nice having connected pawns. My opponent's pawns are split and further behind, so should be a winning advantage still. I still have 2 minutes on the clock. I should be able to pull this off. We'll see. He's got more nuisance checks. Yeah, he can check. The pawns are nearly to that stage where the pawns are worth more than a rook. When the two pawns are on the 6th rank, they can defeat a rook by themselves, single-handedly defeating a rook. Okay, so rook to e1, and yeah, I'll make a queen. One way or another. And I'll be in time to stop these pawns. Okay, let's see what's going on here. He wants to win this last pawn. Let's give a check. Let's see, the queen is cutting off his escape here, right? Threatening to take on a5 there. Even if he moves the pawn, I'll still play queen a5 check and try and mate his king here with the queen and rook. Queen and rook are a pretty powerful combination. Okay, good game. I will upload this and do a post-mortem. See you guys later. Bye.